Hi everyone, for today's book review we are reaching for the skies again and we're going to be checking out the Avro Tudor, a muddle without parallel in civil aviation. This subtitle is deceptively inflammatory, and when this was announced on social media it did cause turbulence among the aviation enthusiasts. But it is also misleading because within these pages you get a even-handed look at the life of this aircraft, and the author Keith Cameron has done a fantastic job of not only detailing the history of this aircraft but also presenting an argument showing both the pros and the cons of it, and in some instances showing the advantages of this design. And he leaves it up to you, the reader, to decide whether it was a literal muddle or whether there were bones of a good design that just didn't get the chance to shine. But first, let's wind ourselves back a little and look at the plane itself. What of the Avro Tudor and how it came about? Basically, this aircraft was born from the Brabazon Committee. It was a committee that looked at the aviation needs of Great Britain and its empire and devised various categories of aircraft that they needed, from feeder liners right through to large transatlantic aircraft. Some of their more famous designs was the Bristol Brabazon, which was this gargantuan white elephant aircraft that was basically meant to be a flying ocean liner across the transatlantic. And then you also had the beautiful Saunders Roe Princess, which was kind of the ultimate flying boat. You also had the Avro Tudor, but you had some other more successful designs. But these glorious failures tend to be the more interesting ones. This book follows the complete history of the Avro Tudor, and the author takes us through the arduous and complicated design history and entry into production of this plane. It first entered service commercially with BSAA, a short-lived airline, British South American Airways, and unfortunately two of them crashed. But the aircraft's finest hour came with the Berlin airlift, where its impressive cargo hauling capacity was put to good use, and it did stalwart service in keeping the city supplied, along with many other aircraft. It also had an interesting cargo career supplying the British government with sensitive equipment during their atomic bomb testing, particularly in South Australia. There is a fascinating anecdote included in this book about one of the Tudors that crashed that was carrying sensitive equipment, and people had to go in and actually detonate the remains of the cargo to prevent any secrets from being discovered. Ultimately, the Avro Tudor found its greatest success in air charters and being used by Freddie Laker in some of his long-distance cargo hauling activities. And this is where the author presents the argument that the plane certainly had its advantages and, used in the right conditions, could be of good use. There is a wonderful chapter at the end that gives you a pilot's view of what it was like to fly the Avro Tudor itself. As you can see, the book is extensively illustrated. 99% of the photos in here are black and white. There are a few color profiles that show you the look of the aircraft, and it was a wise choice to use it in depiction of the various liveries that it carried. The BSAA livery, even though it's simple, is quite a striking color scheme. You can see it up there. It's a wonderful book, and it is a long overdue history of this aircraft that puts it into context, and you get a full understanding of the painful circumstances in which it was created and the constant problems that the design team encountered to refine the design and to make it work. And you get along the way the stories of the various personalities and the individuals and organizations that tried to make the Avro Tudor work, and in some instances, such as Freddie Laker, succeeded. This is a wonderfully detailed book, beautifully illustrated, and as I said, it is an overdue history of this fascinating aircraft. So decide for yourself whether it was a model or whether it was a good design that just never had an opportunity to properly shine. For all this, it's a 4 captain's hats, and I highly recommend for all the aviation enthusiasts to check it out.